Hi everyone, it's been a while. How's everyone doing? Today I thought I'd share with you my progress with the sketchbook I started back in November and that you can see in my previous video. I'll link it down below as well. It's been about 10 months since I started it, and as you can see I've been keeping track of the chunks of drawings in the index pages of this lectrum. There's a lot, but not that many themes, so much as pages. This is the drawing where I started the sketchbook. So the paper isn't that great for ink and it's see-through, but that's pretty much intentional. There's a bit of everything, including some random notes and even stamping like this one. There are some sketches I made for the project. I thought whether I should show them or not. It might be fun to show a better peek of them. So here's the base cheese for the studies, but there's still a really long way to go until I finish this. I'm actually happy about some of these, although not always. Like sometimes it gets out as I want, like these, but not always. About this time I actually started studying with more intention anatomy for drawing through the book I've mentioned in the previous vlog, and study with me. Pretty much daily I went through the studies. I'm not very picky with the presentation of these, as you can see. Sometimes it doesn't come out right. So I'll just, stick a paper over it and try again. So I don't really waste a page. It's mainly notes per part, and it helps when I also need to reference, because it's my own notes instead of the book's more complex, and there were a lot of harder to understand notes in that anatomy book than I expected. Sometimes it was not the simplest and easiest way to understand the explanations, because the descriptions didn't match the schematics in the best way, so I did have to cross-reference with a bigger book. I also made some different notes, like with the hand to help understand better, and kept the overlay of bones and muscles using a sheet of vegetable drawing paper so I could see the bones. For some reason I kind of stuck to red and blue and even tried to see which warmth the pigment had. Turns out they're different, since it turned really muddy instead of a brighter purple. Like I said, sometimes things don't turn out right, and I try some materials and it wouldn't come out like I wanted, and I just left mistakes in my sketchbook without any guilt, because that's the point of it. Around the time I finished the book, I actually started doing sketches from references photos, and you can see perfectly the problem I have with proportions and references. It's really persistent too. They don't match. I tend to make the lengths too long and I always take note of it, though it's mostly always this leg upper body problem. However, when I draw off imagination, I don't really get it, although it usually makes the character rather short, even if proportional. so I did more sketches than as practice from memory. Rather than references, and tried more of poses, mainly with a pen, Staedtler fine liner, and it definitely made a difference, but not without having mistakes either way, but that's expected from memory. I actually tried the characters designs again, but just from memory, but I wasn't happy about it at all. There's still a long way to go with this and lots of practice. This is probably one of my favorite pages. It's full of odd and fun poses for me, and the result is rather interesting, I think. I just use a highlighter to draw contour shapes and then line them with pen, and it's a lot of fun to use this method as a practice because you're using negative form, and then I just line them all over. These are just some notes of an animation I was trying and how timesheets work. There's just a couple of timings where I had to make the movement of a line. I went back to that shape exercise again to try different things like volume, but it didn't always work as I expected, especially with the eyes and head. I still have a lot to learn about that. I love these as well from timed anatomy references, and in these I actually use a mechanical lead pencil, but no eraser as always, and pretty much just use it like a pen. I try to go through close references as well because that's really important. Some of the shapes turn out really nice. And full of gesture action, which is really cool, especially with these ones. The references were really nice, even without using the shadows. This is also one of my favorites. The shapes are easy to commit to memory in terms of foreshortening of limbs, especially with the legs ones. Some notes of a screen cap I actually liked and wanted to reference for the project. I really like that one. A couple more notes of things I wanted to make to understand movement. Just some random notes of things I want to make and print. Now these are the most recent drawings in my sketchbook, and what I'm working now in terms of skill. I use gouache for this with a flat brush I unboxed and tested recently. It's a nice size to avoid over detailing too, since it's just for sketches and not really intricate drawings. The hardest things is definitely keep values right rather than color, so I really need to work on that. This was complicated to manage, especially given that it's gouache rather than a type of medium that sticks to the color which you are seeing on the palette, but it's still nice to what I wanted to do. Even though it's a really thin paper, it's not meant to hold water at all, to be honest. But that's the point in using Sketchbook with a paper, that it isn't really high quality. For now, I've only come this far in the Sketchbook at about 98 pages out of 2500, which is really nice considering I wasn't drawing that much these past few years. So it's been good to keep a sketchbook this way. I hope you enjoyed this half flip through, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time. Bye!